Well, howdy everyone. This plant is a Hoya. It's a Tricolor Crimson Queen, and it's a pretty plant. I think you can see some leaves are white with splotches of green. Some have white edges. This is a great house plant because it flowers. And it has pretty pink flowers that are supposed to have a really nice smell to them. This plant can be grown in a hanging basket. As you can see, it's starting to trail. Or you can stake it up and, use a moss pole for it. The foliage is really pretty. It's easy to propagate. And as far as the environment, it likes bright indirect light, so no full sun. Temperature, if you're comfortable, this plant's probably comfortable. It is an epiphyte, which means it climbs trees or other plants, so climbing or sprawling, it's your choice, whichever look you want. And because it's a tropical plant, it does prefer humidity. Anything, about 50% or more. I run a humidifier because I have a bunch of plants, and when I heat in the winter, the air gets really dry. So, I don't know what these flowers are going to look like, but from the pictures I've seen, they're kind of a light pink with a red center, and they grow in bunches, kind of like a clump. I mean, if you've ever seen, I don't know, a hydrangea, where, all the flowers are kind of in a ball at the end of a branch, well, that's what this is like. I mean, it doesn't look like a hydrangea, but it kind of has that flowering pattern. It's kind of a circular bunch of flowers grouped together, and very pretty from what I've seen. I think you need to have a mature plant, meaning a couple years old, for it to flower, but it's easy to care for, so you should be able to keep it alive long enough for it to flower. Soil, well draining. I use coco coir and perlite sometimes I just use straight coco coir. It's got good water holding capacity, and it also allows a lot of air in, and it doesn't compact like peat. So that's what I use. That's my go-to. I don't know if there's anything that's hard to grow about this plant. It's easy to propagate. You can take stem cuttings. Yeah, I mean, if you want a house plant that flowers, this is a great choice. There's a lot of house plants that you can keep inside, but not a whole lot of them flower, not like this. I mean, peace lilies flower, anthuriums flower, but those are more like a spath and a flower. So this is different. It is a really pretty flower, and it's worth growing, I think. It can trail pretty long down if you want to keep it in a hanging basket. That'll be great. You can put it on a shelf and let it just hang down your shelves. I tend to prefer using self-watering planters because I hang my plants, and as long as I don't overfill the reservoir, they won't drip. If you try to hang a plant in a regular pot, watering is going to mean taking it down, bringing it to the sink, waiting for it to drain so it's not all over your floor or your furniture. So I really like to use self-watering planters when I hang a plant. Otherwise, you can just put it in a pot and stake it, with a trellis or a moss pole, let it climb, and keep it in a tray. And when you're done watering, it's always a good idea to empty the tray so the plant isn't sitting in standing water. But pretty easy plant to take care of. I got mine on Amazon, so I will put a link to it in the description. And I have an article about how to care for these plants, so I'll have that link in the description too. I do want to mention there is another variety of this. Actually, there's a lot of Hoya varieties, different kinds, but similar to this plant, there's a Crimson Princess, and it's real similar, same plant, just different leaf color variation. So either one, I think you'd be happy with it, and you have some pretty flowers once it gets going. It's, like I said, it's pretty much no-brainer. Taking care of plants indoors is not rocket science. The main killer of indoor plants is over-watering. So, this plant, like all others, in the winter, growth slows down. It doesn't need as much water. It doesn't need as much fertilizer. In fact, it doesn't need any fertilizer during the winter. But you can fertilize it during the growing season. I like to use a half-strength mix of a balanced fertilizer. Right now I'm using TPS-1, which is an all-in-one with trace elements and all that. And, you know, any brand you want will work. Just don't overdo it, because more is not better when it comes to fertilizer. Okay, listen, take good care of yourselves. Happy gardening. Don't forget, keep it green. All right, bye-bye.